good evening, everyone, and welcome to Pretend Football Now. I'm your host, Syke Manders, and along with me, as always, is Maul Paderos. Maul, how's it going?
Cycle, didn't Gage Laser already ask you about the hatchet?
Well, I'll tell you what, Gage Laser doesn't run things around here. Certainly does not.
This is going to be a long show.
Well, let's take a look at what we have on the table before us here. 4 teams have crossed the threshold. We're going to be covering 3 matches.
Yeah, 3 pretend football matchups. 2 rather uninteresting. Good for some and not so good for others. And 1 a real nail-biter came down to the end. Hopefully, my colleague here decides to not wave that thing around anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pilgrim. It won't happen as long as you remain proper and polite.
What is even happening anymore?
On with the show. Well, pretend football fans, there's a saying in the Catskills, older than the mighty mountains of granite. It's very simple. You reap what you sow. So with that, let's focus in on Dipsy's dilapidated dumpster and pro football arena as the Stinky Pinks host the Raja of the Revolution, the King of the Coup, Coach Joe Pfeiffer, and the mighty Gatsville Cleavers. Well, Coach Odesso sent his filthy football flunkies forward, and, well, the way was led by Lamar, I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson, who piled...
For real.
Well, it is true. He was for real. He did pile up 20.25 points. Lamar was truly the diamond in the rough. He was the truffle in the filthy pile of pig droppings. Not only did every other active player on the Stinky Pinks, 5 players scored less than 5. Less than. That's this one. Or is it this one? It's one of the... I think it eats whatever one is smallest. Moving on. Oily Derrick Henry, so mighty a man, and a pretend football darling, as well as a nearly unbeatable name stock. He's only scored 3 points. 3. Odell Beckham proved that sometimes he does not bend like Beckham or anyone else, because he only scored 1.9 points. Almost 2. Nearly. So nearly. Shimmying up to the game, Coach Odesso was, well, I mean, he was struck with some bench blues, but I don't think those bench blues would have made any difference if they decided to play on the field that day. Well, the Catskill Cleavers came to mangle, to maul, to mince, to mutilate, and manhandle the competition, and they did so with gusto. Christian, the survivalist McCaffrey, scored alone 70% of the Stinks points. That's 39.2. And Joe, the ageless lumberjack Flacco, added an additional 20.6. Now that's precisely all we really need to talk about, isn't it? Those 2 alone. If every other player mysteriously died under dubious circumstances, commish, they still would have walked away with the W. Well, TLDR, the Cleavers come to town, double up at the dumpster, 112.3 to 53.05. With this win, the Cleavers advance to the semifinals, and they leave the Stinky Pinks fed-ridden and so defeated.
And now it should have been a matchup for the ages. Wunderkid versus Mentor. Scion of a champion versus defending two-time champion. What would the Gravy Legs bring to Black Star Memorial Stadium? The home team was led onto the pitch by Jake from State Farm Browning with 22.2 pre-10 points. Justin, moving on up, Jefferson finally returns to the lineup. He added 11.9 points, leading all other receivers on Caught Call's roster. Zach, I'm back, Moss, rounded up 10.8 points before exploding his ankle. That's familiar territory. 1-900 Med Fung there, Zach. Now, dismal performances abound otherwise. Zay, Karma Police Flowers scored 1.2. Marquise Weird Fishes Brown didn't even play. Woof. That's what supporting the revolution will get you. Oh, and those bench blues. Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin. Look those two names up. They burned up the pine with a combined 42 points. Guess what, kids? That would have been enough to snatch away a win. But alas, doom struck. Comish Mikey Two Belts paraded out his finest footballers in fancy filth-covered foot socks and fineries. They responded. The filth-laden did. James Sewer Rat Cook exploded onto the scene, scoring 35.1 points. The living God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, was again holy with 20.7, and Kyler, the little shit Murray, launched an effective 15.45. There were no other standouts, but no major missteps either. A true veteran. The cool hand that rocks the league's cradle cruises on into the semifinals, 110.05 to 69. Giggity. Now, only one game this week was actually worth discussing. Yeah, sure. Cycle and I have our differences.
We do indeed have our differences.
Could you stop?
Oh, I can't. Thank you. I just...
What was that, John Wayne?
A little bit, yeah. So, moving on. Look.
Anyways, the Blimps, the highest floating and scoring team in the league, head to the briny depths of the Bread and Butter Bowl to face the Pickle Boys of Coach Cody and the crew.
Indeed, Gage Laser promised us a close one, and he was right on the Catskill Sea Bill with that particular one. The home side crew was led, as typical, by Kyron the New Order Williams, who prodded the defense for 22 points. His running back teammate, Rashad Big Dill White, not to be outdone, of course, added 20.9 for 10 points, and huge defense plays, as well as Tremaine Edwards outdid his projection by 10, scoring 16 points. Come on, Gage! Be better, Gage. Oh, as we come on a Monday night, the crew had amassed 106.8, and we were stuck watching to see exactly what the Blimps would do.
Yeah, that's right. And the ominous shadow of the Zeppelin covered the northern end of the Bread and Butter Bowl. Fear crept into the gherkins. You could almost taste it, the brine. You could almost choke on the pickling salt. Whew. Airman Devontae Adams led all Blimps with 20.1 points, with Patrick the Messerschmitt Mahomes adding 18.75 and the ever-consistent top of the table of elements, Alvin Hydrogen Kamara adding 13.5 more. As you mentioned, it all came down to Monday night. The Blimps had a trio: Devontae the Stuka Smith, Jason Leadfoot Myers, and Bobby the Blimp Wagner needed to combine to score 40 points. Not impossible, and that would have taken the Blimps into the next round. However, it was quickly found out that the trio was mutinous and only amassed 26 points.
Just like that, the blimp season goes up in flames. Oh, the huge manatee. Oh, highest scoring team thrown down and out. The home crew salt away this victory, 106.8 to 96.35. What a close to a dramatic playoff game.
Absolutely. And now we're down to 4. This will be a hell of a ride.
Absolutely it will. Absolutely it will. Well, we come again, as we always do, to the end of the show where we have our outro. Big games coming up. Yeah. Real big games.
Absolutely.
Obviously, first one that's on my list, the Gravy Legs versus the Pine Lake Park Tombstones.
Yeah. Number 7, Gravy Legs. They snuck into the playoff, the last team in.
Sure.
And they are heralded by the Comish Mikey Two Belt, our 2-time defending champion. They will head to the graveyard of Pine Lake Park to face off against Coach Scott Martin, who their bye week came at a very opportune moment. Very, very fortunate bye for the Tombstones, and that's all he needs to really worry about now.
Sure.
This matchup going to be quite a barn burner. I'm really looking forward to see how it turns out.
Yeah, it's definitely that is critical. That bye week came in at a great time. They're going to come back to it rested and refreshed, if he even needs it. I don't know.
Well, I think he's going to need it. And you know who else is going to need something? I believe that it is the number 5 team, the Catskill Cleavers, and Coach Joseph Pfeiffer. He will head into the Bread and Butter Bowl to face off against Coach Cody and the crew. Honestly, can't wait to see it.
Sure. Diametrically opposed politics, I suppose you could say. Much like you and I.
Yeah.
But look, I can't take anything away from the Cumberland crew. When the chips are down, they do tend to perform, but they have been defeated by the Cleavers in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the truth of the matter is that one has to be a toss-up. There's quite a bit of gamesmanship going on right now as we speak. I understand that the Cleavers have not even set a lineup. There's not a single player in their starting lineup. Hopefully the rosters get locked in that position.
The Revolution demands a little bit of pizzazz, showmanship, and deception. Because who knows who's watching?
I guess you never do know who's watching. And we would like to know if you're watching, so if you could just give us a like or a subscribe or maybe even a comment, that would be nice.
It would help. It would certainly help.
I mean, because otherwise, why are we doing all of this?
That is sadly very true. Well, do you have a word of the week?
I do. And the word of the week is harbinger.
I don't even know what that means.
It's written on the wall. I don't know. If you know what the word means, by all means, tell us right down there below.
If you have video evidence of Craig writing it on the wall, please also send it to us. We will make certain that he is reprimanded extremely harshly.
Absolutely. And is there a prop to victory this week, Cycle?
Of course there is. Everyone should be able to recognize this object. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Pretend football now.
way.
Right.
And then there were 4.
What I don't understand is why they're on a field and they're wearing all kinds of pads. I thought this was rugby. What's going on, Croc? What's going on?
I don't know. This is those weak Americans playing this crazy ass game.
Blood.
There's only one play that we like in here. You see, it's the what do they call it? The old tush push, yeah?
It's not bad,
Crocodile.
It's not bad.
Crocodile enjoy a good tush push.
Oh,
yeah?
that's right. It's not what you think, you Yanks. You want to keep your bloody noses clean, you drongos.